Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the special Tuesday edition of the Relief Valve podcast. I didn't do a show yesterday because it was President's Day, and we're going to jump right into the craziness that's happening. The news never ends, the craziness never ends. So, first we're streaming here on YouTube and Rumble for anyone that wants to see the live show as opposed to listening to it on audio, and then we're on most of the major platforms. I found an issue with Spotify where the old company that I was using, Podvine, is still attached to them, so new episodes aren't going up on Spotify. So anyone that's been trying to listen or tune in there, that's the reason you're not seeing new episodes. But as far as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, all of those major platforms, we're all still streaming on those. Please like, subscribe, comment on the show on YouTube and Rumble. That helps to kind of propel the show up in the ranks so it gets more eyeballs. And then with Rumble, the more people that subscribe to the show, I can live stream directly on that rather than uploading after my show's done on YouTube. So that way, if I run into any issues with YouTube, I'm still on Rumble and there aren't any problems there. But more of the balloon craziness, and you know, this whole thing has been a cluster, right? First, it was this crazy situation where everything was getting blown out of the sky. I jokingly said it was a really bad time to be a balloon enthusiast, right? I put a poll up on, no one really participated in it because I just don't have enough subscribers right now on YouTube. But I put a poll up on YouTube and I said, well, what is everything that the U.S. military is shooting down? Is it aliens? Is it spy balloons? Is it a 1950s a balloon and a 1950s inventor that is using his self-propelled balloon? You know, and he's inside pedaling and he's got a propeller on the back and he's trying to make it around the world in 80 days, and then he's getting shot down by an F-22 Raptor. And I ended up not being that far from the truth because, and a story that we're going to get to here, but that one of the balloons shot down, I think it was the Lake Huron one, might have been a Hobby Lobby balloon. And we used a $400,000 Sidewinder to shoot it down. Now, if it sounds ridiculous, it is, but it's true. And you think, your first thought is fucking A, man, America's back, right? There's something in the sky, we're shooting that fucker down. If you're in a balloon and you're proposing to your significant other and you got shot down, fuck you, you never should have been there. We're fucking shooting everything down. But it's more of a sign, in my opinion, that how just weak and kind of flailing about we are about all of this. And I don't think it's a good sign that we're shooting everything down that we can possibly find on a radar. I think it's a show of almost fear and weakness at what we're doing at this point, right? You hear about those. Anybody remembers their kind of general, run of the mill kids fable, right? And you had this village for years. It was tormented by a giant that came out of the mountain, and the giant smashed all the surrounding towns. So the parents grew up, and then those parents told that story to their parents, right? And as years go by, and the giant kind of goes back to sleep and disappears, this next generation, and bear with me because the political reference is here, okay? So these other countries, China, Russia, Iran, and they're all the new generation kids now that are looking and going, well, hey, you don't fuck with America. That giant is up in that mountain and he's sleeping. And if you go up there and you wake him up, you're going to piss him off and he's going to come back here and he's going to trash the town. So they decide, well, fuck that. We want to see this thing. We're going to go look at it. We're going to go explore it for ourselves and find out what the deal is. So the kids go up to the mountain and they go looking for the giant. And they find a giant that's disheveled. The clothes are filthy. It's blind or half blind in one eye. And they wake it up and it gets angry and it's kind of just flailing about and hitting the sides of the rock. And the thing's in poor shape. And then the kids go, we shouldn't be afraid of this thing. We should pity this thing. It's not the danger that our parents told us about, right? And I feel like America's come to be that right now. It's you didn't want to bring us into war, right? You woke up the sleeping giant in World War II, and we showed up and with determination and the will to fight. We fucked everyone up, and we were the turning tide. And then 9/11, the attackers, okay, went into Afghanistan, fucking tuned them up over there too, right? Killed Osama bin Laden, and just we were owning the place when we were over there. You woke up the sleeping giant, and you got fucked up. And then we went back to sleep again in the mountain and just deteriorated, right? So these other countries are challenging us now. We've been woken up, and we're just flailing about in this pathetic attempt of a show of force, right? So no, we weren't picking. NORAD wasn't picking anything up on their radars. This is how we got here. NORAD wasn't picking anything up on their radars because we had them tuned for bombers and fighter craft coming into our airspace. We were looking for very, very specific war machines. So spy balloons and other low-tech shit has just been floating around or getting through or just generally been in our airspace from Hobby Lobby and whatever else for God knows how long. And then we realized the mistake we've made when we let the Chinese balloon fly around for a fucking week before we decided to shoot it down. And then we retuned the radar, set them for anything and everything because we're having a problem here. Then we pick up a whole bunch of shit. Now we've got all the American people scared that the skies are filled with God knows what. Everyone thinks the aliens are here. Something else is going on. And we're shooting down, fucking air garbage. That's it. Like space garbage. Hobby Lobby balloons, random shit. Some of the other things they either haven't even been able to find or identify yet or have been unwilling to say what the thing was. And what did we do? We got woken up by this new threat of extra spying was already happening. The Chinese were already in the colleges. There was a Chinese police ring in New York that was spying as well. They were in Chinatown. That was taken out by the FBI as well. The Chinese spying has been the Chinese have been buying up farmland out in the Midwest and specifically trying to buy farmland that's near military bases so they can own that land, pretend that they're cultivating it or doing whatever they're doing, and also run a spy operation from there. And we're letting them buy land in America, whereas can I go buy land in China, right near a Chinese military base, right near sensitive infrastructure? Is China going to let me do that? No, they're not. But the spying is happening here. But the spy balloon, that was the last straw, right? Not releasing a virus from Wuhan, whether they did it by accident or it was done on purpose, we don't know. We may never know. That was okay. We got over that. We let that go, right? It's like we're in an abusive relationship with China. It's you let a virus out of Wuhan. We're moving out. We're so tired of your bullshit. We're moving out and we're not coming back. And then we go, okay, we're coming. We'll move back in if you promise to be good. We'll move back in. And then the Chinese spy balloon apparently is the final straw. Well, now we're really moving out for good and we're not coming back. We're going to live at our mother's. And we're in this abusive relationship with China. But, so we react to this and we're just flailing like the half-blind giant in the story. And everyone's going, we don't need to fear this thing the way we used to before. It's out of control. It doesn't know what its genders are. It doesn't know what its pronouns are. Its military hasn't fought, a bulk of it hasn't fought a real war in years. There's been some conflicts, and there's been a group that's been there fighting, but not the entire military as a whole. You've got maybe a handful of aces now that have shot down pilots in combat, and the most have never seen real life combat outside of a simulator. We've become soft, and then we have idiot leaders like Dementia Joe, who are allowing it to decline and decline, and Obama before him, and the Clintons before him, and just all of these weak leaders, right? And, Trump comes in, he wanted to boost the military back up again. But you can't just fix that problem in 4 years. It takes a concerted effort over time to fix that situation. So that's not going to happen. So you've got all these countries looking at us now and going, America's weak. They're sending aid and pouring money down the drain to Ukraine. But we're not going to show up there and fight. And then China threatening to go after Taiwan. And in one message we say, yep, we're going to be there when they attack Taiwan. And then another message from the other part of our government says, nope, we're not getting involved over there. Taiwan aren't official allies. They're just like buddies. And we're not going to get involved in all that shit. So our messages are all over the place. We're showing we don't want to put boots on the ground and get involved in any fights anywhere. And I'm not necessarily saying that's wrong, right? We don't have to be Big Brother to the entire world. But everyone's seeing blood in the water, and they're looking at this as their time to strike. And really, with everyone, North Korea's firing off missiles now and test missiles like they're going out of style, way more than they ever were before. And they're coordinating with their other Asian allies. So China and others, because China helps North Korea financially. That's how North Korea keeps its head above water. So North Korea is in bed with China, and any other Asian country or a smaller area that is directly against us. And everyone's sharpening their swords right now and seeing the weakness of what America is currently. And as long as Dementia Joe stays in office and corrupt left-wing Democrats stay in power, we've got a real problem, and everyone sees it. So, all right, so there's my kind of intro right there. So let's get into a little bit of this. We're going to get to, I'll start with a Hobby Lobby balloon. And then we'll move on to another balloon found over Hawaii. And that's never mind the green Chinese lasers that were being fired over Hawaii as well. We'll get to that too. So a hobby balloon may be one of the 3 UFOs shot down by the Air Force. A hobbyist group in Illinois may have just identified one of the 3 mysterious objects that were shot down last week. Most people are aware of the multiple unidentified objects shot down over North America recently, but now we might have an answer to what one of them was. According to an article from Aviation Week, a hobbyist club in Illinois believes this missing balloon might be one of the objects the U.S. Air Force shot down. The Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. Try saying that 5 times fast. Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. Northern Illinois Bottle Cap Balloon Brigade. The NIBBB said it's missing a Pico balloon. Hi, it's Pico. Which is silver-coated and takes various measurements as it flies. The balloons generally cost anywhere between $12 and $180. Keep in mind, we shot that balloon down with a $400,000 heat-seeking Sidewinder missile. Like I said, bad time to be a balloon enthusiast, bad time to go in a hot air balloon and propose to your fiance, your future fiance. Bad time for all of that. Cancel anything balloon related. It was my daughter's birthday, and I was concerned about letting one of the balloons blow up, get lost into the air above my house, and have the Air Force show up. That's how concerned I am about the balloon industry right now. The founder of Scientific Balloon Solutions, SBS, I can't believe this shit exists, said of the situation, I tried contacting our military and the FBI and just got the runaround. Can you imagine you're on a date and 2 of you are talking about what you do? And she tells you about her job, and you're like, she's like, well, what do you do? It's like, well, I don't want to brag, but I'm in the balloon industry. Yeah, I'm kind of a big deal in the balloon industry. Oh, boy. Check, please. So story continues, and just got the runaround to try and enlighten them on what a lot of these things probably are, and they're going to look not too intelligent to be shooting them down, that's for sure. Others also believe at least one of the objects shot down was a Pico balloon, with Tom Medellin, a retired FedEx engineer and co-host of the amateur radio roundtable show, declaring, I'm guessing probably they were Pico balloons. Aviation Week attempted to contact agencies like the FBI, North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, and National Security Council, NSC, and the Office of the Secretary of Defense. While the NSC didn't respond to the request, the FBI and the OSD referenced the incident but did not explicitly state that the objects shot down were Pico balloons, with NORAD telling reporters, "I have no update for you from NORAD on these objects." Despite NSC not responding to Aviation Week, NSC spokesman John Kirby told reporters recently that the objects could just be balloons tied to some commercial or benign purpose. After a Chinese spy balloon was confirmed to be shot down over South Carolina, the Air Force shot down a handful of other UFOs in Alaska, one in Canada, and one over Lake Huron off the coast of Michigan. More details are slowly coming out about the situation, and according to the NIBBBBBBBBBB, Pico balloons are one very strong possibility. So there you go. $400,000 Sidewinder missile took out a Hobby Lobby balloon at roughly retail value $12. So we got another balloon. I think this happened either over the weekend or Monday. Another white balloon flying over Hawaii at 40,000 feet, which was, I think, where the Chinese spy balloon was. So pilots were on the lookout for a large white balloon over the waters northeast of Hawaii on Sunday, days after U.S. fighter jets shot down multiple unidentified objects out of North American skies. The balloon's nature and whereabouts remained unclear Monday morning. An image circulating online appeared to show a pilot in a cockpit holding a printout warning of a reported large white balloon flying between 40,000 feet and 50,000 feet. The printout, which appeared to originate from air traffic control in Oakland, California, said to alert air traffic control if the object is spotted. So on the Twitter, one of the pilots in a commercial aircraft has a printout from the tower in California, and they're reporting to all of the planes, be aware of the balloon in Hawaiian airspace. It's a flying hazard. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, which oversees military action in the region, confirmed the reports around 3:36 a.m. on Monday, the Drive reported. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command is aware of the reports of a large white balloon by civilian aircraft. We're looking into the reports and have nothing additional at this time, the command stated to the outlet. So, again, more great things happening and monitoring all this. There's a balloon in American airspace, right, and in Hawaii, and no one knows what the fuck it is. Why aren't we blowing the shit out of it like we have been everything else? What's stopping us this time? All right, so this one was from like last week, and it's still in the headlines, but China flashed mysterious green lasers over Hawaii, NASA says, and this apparently came from one of China's satellites. A NASA scientist says a Chinese satellite flashed previously unidentified lights over Hawaii last month. Japan originally said the lights came from NASA. The green lights are the latest in a string of mysterious objects in the sky. China is most likely behind the mysterious green lights that were seen last month in the skies over Hawaii. The Chinese pollution monitoring satellite Daqi-1 probably produced the lights spotted over Hawaii on January 28th, according to a NASA scientist. The comments apparently put to rest earlier theories that the lights were coming from a U.S. satellite. The lights were first seen during a live stream, footage from the Subaru Asahi star camera, which is situated on the Mauna Kea volcano, showed the line of the green light quickly flashing across the sky. And for the the visual viewers, there's a quick view there, and the lights look like it's like the Matrix. It's like code from the Matrix coming down from the sky. It's really bizarre. A week after the incident, experts at the National Astronomical Observation of Japan, which co-owns a camera, claimed on Twitter that the green light originated from radar on the NASA satellite ICESat-2, but a week later, Naoj revised its theory, saying that based on the trajectory, it was unlikely the lights were coming from NASA's satellite at all. The Daqi-1 was launched in April. The satellite has LiDAR, laser imaging detecting and ranging for detecting atmospheric aerosols and carbon dioxide. Daqi, I don't fucking know, also measures nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, ozone, and fine particle pollution. LiDAR uses laser beams for mapping, and it's believed that these lasers illuminated the sky over Hawaii in January. Why would they be lighting up Hawaii? Were they having a concert? The Daqi-1 isn't the only satellite using LiDAR to monitor Earth. The Cloud Aerosol LiDAR and Infrared Pathfinder satellite observation, again, say that 5 times fast, or Calypso, has been orbiting for more than 15 years. The Calypso's high spectral resolution LiDAR, HSRL, provided the first global observations of the North Atlantic photoplankton bloom. Early NASA experiments proved the value of orbiting LiDAR. For example, the LiDAR in-space technology experiment was used in 1994 as the first LiDAR system for atmospheric studies from space. The instrument was positioned in the payload bay of Space Shuttle Discovery, measured Earth's cloud cover, and tracked various particles in the atmosphere. The green lights are part of a wave of sightings of mysterious objects in the sky. The U.S. Air Force has shot down 4 flying objects in recent weeks. One of the UFOs has been identified as a Chinese spy balloon. 2 other aerial objects have still not been identified, but at least one of them was probably a civilian balloon. So we get all this talk of aliens, and really it's just the war of the balloons and laser shows for a fucking Kiss concert. It's all stupid things. Okay, so getting off on here and to another story on the news front, and this is just karma hitting another asshole. Let me see, what do I got? We got the trains. All right, so before we get to that. So Don Lemon will be taking a holiday, I'm using bunny ear quotations, will return on air depending on where his head is at CNN. I'm assuming his head's with his boyfriend. Lemon not on air Monday, up in the air whether he returns on Tuesday, a CNN insider told Fox News Digital. CNN anchor Don Lemon will temporarily be benched from the network on Monday following his controversial comments demeaning 2024 GOP presidential candidate Nikki Haley, according to a CNN insider. He actually demeaned all women when he made that comment. But let's get into it. Amidst the mounting furor and calls for his firing over his comments last week that were widely condemned as sexist, Lemon was removed from Monday's CNN This Morning on-air lineup Sunday. A CNN insider told Fox News Digital that Lemon has no plans to return to air earlier than Tuesday, adding that he is taking the holiday Monday and that his return to the show depends on where his head is at. Lemon's absence on Monday was first reported by the Daily Beast, which also reported that Lemon's future at the network is uncertain. A person familiar with the matter told the Daily Beast that there are ongoing conversations about Don's future, adding that he has become a constant distraction for the network. The on-air suspension comes after Lemon issued an apology to his colleagues on Friday for comments he made about women and aging, in which he knocked Haley, 2024 Republican presidential candidate, for being past her prime. She just recently announced that she's going to run for 2024. Lemon's boss, CNN CEO Chris Light, scolded the host on Friday for the comment, calling it upsetting, unacceptable, and unfair, and a huge distraction. Lemon made the remark while pushing back against Haley's call for politicians over 75 years old to undergo mental competency tests, citing Google, to argue that the 51-year-old Haley will have an uphill battle in winning the presidency since women are only in their prime during 20s, 30s, and 40s. That upset some women. Upon receiving some pushback from a co-host, Poppy Harlow, Lemon replied, "I'm just saying what the facts are. Google it. Everyone at home. When is a woman in her prime? Is 20s, 30s, and 40s. And I'm just saying, Nikki Haley should be careful about saying that politicians are not in their prime, and they need to be in their prime when they serve." The reference I made to a woman's prime this morning was an inartful and irrelevant, as colleagues and loved ones have pointed out, and I regret it. A woman's age doesn't define her either personally or professionally. I have countless women in my life who prove that every day. A CNN insider told Fox News Digital that Lemon's internal apology was the most pathetic attempt at an apology I've ever heard in my life. Other insiders bashed the bizarre on-air remarks. Everyone's annoyed. People are definitely upset about it, one insider told Fox News Digital. I was trying to figure out what the hell he was even talking about, another CNN insider said. None of it made any sense. It was a stupid thing to say. Yeah, what does a gay guy know about the prime of women? You have no fucking clue. Think about whenever your boyfriend's prime is. Focus on that. Lemon's controversial comments represented the latest episode in the turmoil plaguing CNN this morning. Last month, Fox News Digital confirmed that Lemon had snapped at a colleague, Caitlin Collins, for repeatedly interrupting him during December broadcasts, which sources said left her visibly upset. So speaking of people who are in their past their prime, he just seems like an angry, grumpy gay man who doesn't like having to be around other women and he wants to be the sassiest one in the room. That's what it sounds like to me. So put Don Lemon, as Tucker calls him, out to pasture. He's done. And he should have been done quite some time ago when his other buddy Como, Fredo Como, got kicked off air. He should have been done then. So, in another series of just train derailments and fucking disasters that are happening, we've got Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky shutting down water intakes after a train derailment. Right. So Ohio had one. And then Cincinnati and Kentucky also had train derailments, again with chemical spills coming out for those. Utilities in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky shut the Ohio River water intake valves early Sunday morning over concerns about contamination by hazardous materials from a train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. So I'm sorry, they didn't necessarily have. I know there were 2 other train derailments. I'm just trying to remember where they were. I want to say one was Detroit. And another one wasn't, I don't think it was New York. It was somewhere else. But it's just been a concerning amount of train derailments, all carrying chemicals and dangerous chemicals that are all hazardous to the environment. And one of my other shows, I said, where are all the Green New Deal people to come and protest this and woe is me to save the environment and protest against these awful train companies that are hurting the planet? Where's Greta Thunberg? How dare you? Why isn't she here? Because they're grifters. They're full of shit. That's why. When you have a real ecological disaster like this, none of these grifters are anywhere to be found. Utilities in Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky shut Ohio River water intake valves early Sunday morning over concerns about contamination by hazardous materials from a train that derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. The 2 utilities, Greater Cincinnati Water Works and Northern Kentucky Water District, said they are taking precautions as testing found at least low levels of chemicals from the toxic spill in some places at intakes along the waterway, amid reports of fish dying en masse in local waterways and East Palestine residents reporting ailments such as headaches and rashes. After the Norfolk Southern freight train derailment on February 3rd, crews executed what authorities said was a controlled burn of hazardous chemicals from cars that were in danger of exploding, prompting temporary evacuations and a large plume of smoke over the small town on the Pennsylvania border. Emergency responders were able to quickly respond and contain most of the chemicals, NKWD said in a press release. NKWD said one of the chemicals, butyl acrylate, am I saying that right? Was detected at low levels in the Ohio River far upstream of our water supply intakes. Butyl acrylate is a clear liquid with a sweet odor used in arts and crafts, adhesives, flooring, sinks, bathtubs, to name just a few of the uses for the chemical. GCWW, the fucking acronyms for these names, said low levels of the butyl acrylate were believed to have seeped into the Ohio River through a small creek about 300 miles north of Cincinnati. By Sunday afternoon, GCWW reported 2-ethanol 1-hexanol was detected. This compound is commonly used in industrial applications, including for flavorings and fragrances. So the water's going to smell great, but you're screwed if you drink it. The other 2 fucking companies I'm not going to keep naming, each of which reportedly serve hundreds of thousands of customers, so they will continue testing in coordination with the Ohio River Valley Water Sanitation Commission and assure the public they have treatment processes in place. The utility said they will rely on reserves until regulators are certain water from the Ohio River is safe. Norfolk Southern says it is working with local, state, and federal leaders and the community affected by the derailment in East Palestine. That hasn't stopped the number of lawsuits to accumulate as outrage grows, spurred in part by videos showing an oily sheen from chemicals in local waterways. And J.D. Vance, the new senator for Ohio, he took a stick, went into the water, and just churned up some of the water, and just multicolored substance like you would see if you get oil or antifreeze on the ground after you move your car, and you see it on the ground, and it looks like rainbow colored. That's what he was seeing in the water when he stirred it up with the stick. It's fucking awful. Now, everyone's been told, well, if you have a well, don't worry about it, you're fine. And the regular drinking water for the town, you're also fine. And now they're going, well, maybe you're not fine, and maybe you all should buy bottled water. It's fucking, you can't trust any of these agencies to tell you the truth. It's fucking awful. Just like with the whole COVID thing, you couldn't trust the agencies, even now, the CDC and the WHO, to give you accurate information. They're all over the place. Use a mask, don't use a mask. We're all good. It's not a big deal anymore. Well, it's a big deal in certain areas. So we've got red zones where it's a problem, and other zones where it's fine. I mean, it's all over the place. After the fire went out on February 8th, the Environment Protection Agency said on Tuesday its air monitoring had not detected any levels of health concern in the community that are attributed to the train derailment. Ohio Republican Governor Mike DeWine's office said Friday testing results from East Palestine's municipal water source determined that municipal drinking water is safe to drink, if you can believe that, but urged locals who get their water from private wells to use bottled water until their water's tested. Also on Friday, DeWine released a joint statement with Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA Regional Administrator Thomas Sivak, announcing FEMA aid would be on the way after the Biden administration indicated the train derailment did not qualify for federal disaster aid. Figure that out. It's affecting the ecology horribly, the water, everything, and Dementia Joe saying, no, you're not going to get any money because he's too busy funneling all the taxpayers' money to Ukraine. FEMA and the state of Ohio have been in constant contact regarding emergency operations in East Palestine, the joint statement said. U.S. EPA and Ohio EPA have been working together since day one. Tomorrow, FEMA will supplement federal efforts by deploying a senior response official along with a regional incident management assistance team to support ongoing operations, including incident coordination and ongoing assessments of potential long-term recovery needs. That's just fucking word alphabet soup to say we're fucking around and we're trying to pull our heads out of our asses to figure all this out. So an Ohio Democrat gives a strange answer when asked if he would drink the water in East Palestine. They've been having a whole bunch of town halls about this. The people demanded the train company to have representatives there. They didn't even send a representative to the town halls. And now you've got this might be the idiot governor, no, senator. So Senator Sherrod Brown, a Democrat from Ohio, gave an indirect answer when asked if he would drink the water in East Palestine. Appearing on CNN's State of the Union Sunday, Brown deferred to local officials when asked whether he would drink the water contaminated by chemicals from the Norfolk Southern train derailment on February 3rd. Brown went on to blame the derailment on the rail company, claiming it laid off key workers and conducted stock buybacks instead of investing in safety. It's fucking odd when you can't just say, yeah, I'll drink the water. You're going to defer it to another agency? Is that what you normally do when you're at home? Like, honey, don't drink the water until I've talked to the EPA or the safety office, and then when they give me good, we'll do it. That's what you normally do for your fucking policy? If he says I'm going to defer to another agency, down low he's saying don't drink the fucking water. Would you drink the water in East Palestine? Guest host Pamela Brown asked. And do you think the officials there who are saying it's safe, that they should drink the water too to show the residents that they would drink it? Well, I think they are, the senator responded. I mean, I talked to the mayor. The mayor said definitely, emphatically, that people can drink the water. I don't know. I don't think the mayor has small kids. So you have to have small kids in order to drink water? He looks a little older to me. I didn't ask him about bathing his kids, but he said he would drink this water. Democrats are so fucking weird. Brown then claimed that the derailment was caused by corporate greed on the part of Norfolk Southern. Pamela, this is really the same old story. Corporations do stock buybacks. They do big dividend checks. They lay off workers. Thousands of workers have been laid off from Norfolk Southern. Then they don't invest in safety rules and safety regulations, and this kind of thing happens. That's why people in East Palestine are so upset. These things are happening because the railroads are simply not investing the way they showed in car safety and the in-rail lines themselves, he said. J.D. Vance, a Republican from Ohio, has not deferred to officials on the topic of water safety after the EPA said Wednesday that the water in the municipal wells showed no quality concerns. Vance called on them to put the water where their mouth is. I agree. I think that if the EPA administrator wants to stand here and tell people the tap water is safe, by all means, they should be willing to drink it, he said. Vance also posted a video to his personal Twitter account where he scraped a creek bed showing an oily sheen from chemicals in the water. This is disgusting, he said. The fact that these chemicals are still seeping in the ground is an insult to the people who live in East Palestine. Do not forget these people. So it's an awful... And if you remember, the rail workers were wanted to go on strike. Biden and his corrupt regime shut them down and forced everyone back to the table to force an agreement. So these workers really weren't able to strike, and they were looking for, more paid day, more vacation days, sick time, and they also wanted better safety measures than what they were getting. And now you get multiple train derailments at this point in crashes because of train cars that are not being properly taken care of. And this is what the union workers were trying to say. Amongst the other issues they were arguing, there were safety issues. And I had read another story. I didn't put it up here to add, but I just wanted to kind of mention it. People in Connecticut, there's a couple of towns in Connecticut, they were saying they ended up with this ash-like substance on their cars. And meteorologists and some scientists were trying to figure out where it came from. And then there was some suggestion that it was like prevailing winds from Ohio from these burned chemicals that made their way to the Northeast and ended up on people's cars. But it was really bizarre. I saw a couple of photos that this other news organization had put up, and it would almost look like volcanic ash had built up on people's cars, and it had just blown in from nowhere. There was nothing. People said it could have been from Ohio, and then some of the others were saying that's not possible. It couldn't have possibly come from Ohio, trying to downplay the whole thing, but no one had a reasonable explanation as to where the ash came from. And they were burning these chemicals in controlled fires in Ohio to burn up these chemicals that were seeping into the ground, and the winds had the potential to bring them to the Northeast. And they ended up here. It's really weird, and it shows you how, in one of my episodes, I used the nuke map, where you can use it yourself, almost like a twisted game. And you can select the tonnage of a nuke, select the location where the nuke hits, and it's literally called the nuke map. It's on one of my episodes from like last week. You can go check it out. On my live show on YouTube and Rumble, I actually show me using it when it hits like Hartford. A nuke hits Hartford, Connecticut. A nuke hits New York, and then the fallout from the nuke hitting, and it just shows winds and blast zones. Sending it not just from the area that it hit, but through multiple states, almost all the way to Canada, between blast zone and prevailing winds. It was taking some of the destructive, outer destructive portions of it all the way to Canada. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that that these winds could have took what they were burning, and took it to and took it all the way out here to the Northeast. Okay, so in another Ohio is fucked. This segment should have been called Ohio is fucked. There's a major explosion at an Ohio metal plant and 14 injured. Multiple fire departments responded to a major explosion at a manufacturing plant in Northeast Ohio that injured more than a dozen people and sent a large plume of black smoke into the sky on Monday. The explosion happened around 2:30 p.m. at the facilities of I. Schumann and Company, a copper alloy manufacturer. WJW reported the property is located near an interstate highway in the community of Oakwood Village on Alexander Road. Oakwood Fire Department Captain Brian DeRocco said 14 people at the plant were injured, many with burn wounds. Reuters reported at least one is in critical condition, and one was pulled from the debris. 13 people were taken to a hospital while one was being treated on site. The fire was largely extinguished by 4:23 p.m., News 5 Cleveland reported. Residents of nearby communities have reported smelling burning oil, which authorities said will likely remain for a while yet, another news organization said. So great things happening in Ohio right now. You've either got chemicals burning or you've got a copper warehouse burning. The incident came after this month's train derailment to the southeast in East Palestine, Ohio, which unleashed toxic chemicals into the environment and has left residents there fearing for their health. Footage taken from the air showed multiple fire engines spraying the fire with water. Clouds of heavy smoke were visible on a nearby roadway. Another video posted on social media shows eyewitness reactions to the smoke plume visible from a distance away.
Wow. That's fucking insane.
It's scary, honestly.
So that's just a couple of assholes doing video on Twitter in the nearby area. The explosion sent pieces of plant flying into properties across the street An employee at a gaming store across the street said it looks like a volcano erupted. Photos from News 5's Cleveland reporter Jordan Vandenberg showed asphalt burnt by charred chunks of debris and metal objects thrown into buildings across the street. Other debris has been sent into the buildings across the street, and this reporter is showing pictures just businesses across the street from this place, and you see pieces of this business and this factory blown into just other parts of town. A video from Cleveland 19 News reporter Caitlin McCarthy shows a piece of rock in the grass that she said was still smoking. She said businesses across the street reported molten rock flying into their buildings. Witnesses told 5 Cleveland that there were 2 explosions, a smaller one and then a larger one. So I think you should all just evacuate Ohio and restart somewhere else. Between the train derailments and factories blowing up, it sounds like Austin's fucked. All right, I've got to get ready for work here. I had a couple more stories. We'll roll them to the end of the week, depending on what happens, because we're at the 41-minute mark. So just a quick word to our sponsors. Thanks to Keith at I Love What I Do Media. I haven't had time to get to some of the new stuff he sent me, but I got add-ons for the show, and I'm going to be getting to that and tweaking more of the show. Anyone that's willing to support the show, I pay for all of this out of pocket. I do everything for free. It costs me money to upload on Buzzsprout and then to disseminate it to all of the other major platforms. And I appreciate any support I get from the listeners. I tip your messenger is one person, another YouTuber put on their page. So the link, I'm setting up a Patreon account right now, but I have a PayPal right now. If you listen on the audio portion, it says support the show. You can click there to make a donation if you feel so inclined. And I think I've added it into the YouTube and Rumble portions as well. If I did it right, you should be able to see it on the videos as well. So if you enjoy the show, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell to get updates when a new show is being posted. Subscribe on Rumble as well so we can build our viewership on there as well. And support the show financially if you're willing to help me out and keep it running and keep me upgrading and doing more shit, right? And so Keith at I Love What I Do Media and Buzzsprout as well is another one of our affiliate sponsors, and they're who I use to disseminate the show to all the other major platforms, and they've been really great. Their customer service is great. I've tried other providers, and it would take them like a week to get to me to fix a problem. And when you're posting a show 2 times a week, that's not acceptable. Buzzsprout gets back to you within the hour. So use our links for sponsors that are in the audio portions, and then I don't know if I've got them on the online. I'm gonna have to double check that and input those as well. But click those links of our sponsors. It'll take you right to their pages, and you can take advantage of their resources. All right, thanks everyone, and we'll see you for the Friday roundup at the end of the week. All right, thanks everyone. Bye bye.